This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. I'm Oisin Langan. Shelbourne 2 points clear following their 1-0 win away to Waterford and Derry's 2-1 victory away to Bows. We'll be hearing from the RSC soon. Shamrock Rovers now 10 points behind second place Derry and 12 behind leaders Shelbourne following their 2-1 defeat to St Patrick's Athletic at Richmond Park. We'll be hearing from Richmond Park shortly. We spoke to goalscorer Ruadhri Keating and Hoops manager Stephen Bradley. You can get reaction from Stephen Kenny on the St Pat's and indeed the League of Ireland social media channels. Galway United with a big win against Drogheda. Dundalk with a victory against Sligo Rovers. We'll run through all the results and the table in detail a little bit later on. Let's start at Richmond Park. And with former St Pat's and Ireland player Keith Treacy, who was on LOI TV with me on analysis of a dramatic encounter, an exciting encounter. Kenny put Shamrock Rovers 1-0 up in the first half. Both teams had a very decent claim for a penalty before the first goal came. Rovers had a couple of chances after they went 1-0 up, but couldn't take any of them. Ruadhri Keating was brought off the bench. He was denied a goal by the offside flag, but then a couple of minutes later, Mason Melia worked incredibly hard, didn't give up on the ball. It wasn't properly dealt with by the Rovers defence, and Keating scored. The winner coming the 95th minute when Shelbourne put in a cross that Brandon Kavanagh, who was off the bench, met and sent home. For Shelbourne, it was his first start in over 3 months. Gravasti, we must mention him as well. It was his first start in over a year. They really added to the Saints, and the Saints, according to Keith anyway, look better for their presence. We'll hear from Ruadhri Keating shortly. As I say, we'll also hear from Stephen Bradley. First though, let's get the analysis of Keith Treacy, who joined me on LOI TV.
Yeah, it's outstanding. St Pat's went right till the end. I was getting me notes ready. I was just about to say I don't think either team have done enough to win it. It's been nip and tuck. Real hotly contested Dublin derby. But all of a sudden Pats have come up with that little moment, the quality. The ball in from Shelbourne is brilliant. Brandon Kavanagh's run and header is excellent. And as a manager, as a coach, when you send a sub on, you're telling them, go and win us the game, go and make a difference, don't be sulking because you didn't start. That's exactly what Brandon Kavanagh does. Comes off the bench and wins the game for his team.
Two quality goals. Ruadhri Keating with the equaliser and then Brandon Kavanagh with the header to win it after a great cross from Shelbourne.
Yeah, Keating's goal is absolutely outstanding. It's brilliant from Melia. He goes and closes down Stacey. Gets a little bit on the so-called clearance, but as soon as Keating picks it up, real thought process, gets it out of his feet, finds that far corner with ease. Brilliant finish. It's the moment, the quality that Pats were looking for. The second moment, the quality in the game is that Shelbourne cross. Brandon Kavanagh's delivery, his timing of the run is excellent. Just ghosts in there. None of the Shamrock Rovers centre halves can pick him up because he arrives late. And maybe that's that little bit of luck that Pats deserve. Having had the sucker punch against Bows with the last minute draw, then the last minute loss against Shells. This time they're on the right side of a last minute result.
How important were Shelbourne and Gravasti? Because we mentioned that they were both starting a game after a long time out. For Shelbourne it was 3 months, for Gravasti it was a year. And you mentioned at the start that Pats looked that bit more solid with those two in the team. And so it came to pass that they played a major role in a major win.
Yeah, I think Shelbourne playing at right back, a natural right footer being out there, it gives you that natural width. You can play the ball easier out to the right wing, and defensively he looks that little bit more sound. Brogowski as well, after being out for a year, it's an outstanding performance for him. The fitness levels are obviously through the roof. He's been looking after himself really well to play 90 minutes. Being absent for the year is a great effort from him. Joe Redmond next to him did really well throughout the night. Jamie Lennon sniffing danger all night. There's some really good performances within the Pats team, but as a team they look dangerous going forward and they look a little bit more solid defensively. So those building blocks are getting put in place. Maybe Pats now will be thinking we don't want the break.
Will Shamrock Rovers feel they could or should have got something from this game?
I think so, yeah. I think when you look at the chances they had, some of the penalty shouts, how dangerous Ferrugia was. Graham Burke in the first half looked really dangerous. Aaron Green, but they just weren't as ruthless as you would expect Shamrock Rovers to be with that amount of talent that they have. But when I was thinking about St Pat's last week against Drogheda, they had some decent chances to go and win that game and fluff their lines. They were fairly open and gave Drogheda a couple of chances. It's a fairly similar story tonight here, is where they did chalk up chances to Shamrock Rovers, but when Pats got their chances, They were very, very ruthless with them, and they've gone and won the Dublin Derby 2-1. It's an outstanding performance for them and something to build on.
Has the break come at the exact wrong time for Pats now?
It has, yeah. Look, with that win against the champions, you want to build momentum as a feel-good factor within the stadium, but they won't play now for a couple of weeks, which it's not ideal, but I'm sure when the next game rolls around, Stephen Kenny will be showing, he's saying, Pat's team, this is what we did in the last game. Some of the two games I've seen Pats play against Shamrock Rovers here have been two brilliant games of football. Been great watches. They've done really well, took 4 points off Shamrock Rovers this season in Inchicore.
And just before we wrap, on a general point for the neutrals watching tonight on LOI TV, are Shelbourne very much the favourites now?
I think so, Oisin. I think it's very hard to say that they're not, with the points difference that you have, with the way they're playing. Doesn't seem to be any stopping them at the minute. But I'd be zooming out a little bit and thinking when Europe rolls around, is that squad going to get a little bit stretched? 1 or 2 injuries, can they keep rolling on like they do? I do think the wheels will come off at some point at Shelbourne. But with Damien Duff, I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep trucking on.
And one last point on St. Pat's. How big a victory could this be? Could this send them on a journey? Because they have beaten Shamrock Rovers here before this season. But obviously it didn't quite work out for John Daly. He's left the club. Stephen Kenny has come in. This is a big win, but it has to be a starting point rather than just a one-off performance.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Stephen Kenny's message will be. Let this not be a flash in the pan. This is the way we want to compete from now on. And I mentioned the Bows and the Shelbourne game being the sucker punches of the last minute goals with the draw and the loss. It breeds in. You're trying to give your players confidence to play this style of football. Stephen Kenny now can just compound it and say, lads, we run till the last minute, we compete for the last minute, we will go and get our rewards. And I think a lot of the St. Pat's players now will be on board with the way Stephen Kenny wants to play.
Former St. Pat's and Republic of Ireland player Keith Treacy, who joined me on LOI TV for analysis of St. Pat's 2-1 victory against Shamrock Rovers. Let's hear now from Hoops boss Stephen Bradley.
I thought first half a lot was really good. Second half we made some really poor decisions. Didn't manage the game and as a result we get beat.
Were those poor decisions down to yourselves? Was it down to the pressure that Pat's put on? What do you put those poor decisions down to?
A bit of both. I think we've got enough experience in the group to recognise what the game feels like in the second half and manage it for 5 or 10 minutes, but we didn't do that. We like I said, we made really poor decisions and very similar to the second half here the last game. We gave up the game, which is not good enough.
Is it disappointing that at 1-0 up you had a couple of chances to make it 2 and that may very well have killed off the match?
Yeah, we should go and probably score a couple more, there's no doubt about that, but like I said, there's enough experience in this team and enough know-how to weather the storm for 5 or 10 minutes in any game and make the right decisions, and we didn't do that.
Has the break come at a good time or a bad time for you now?
Oh look, we'll get bodies back, there's no doubt about that. I think after the break we'll have all but maybe one back, which will be really helpful obviously, but look, there's no excuses. That team tonight is good enough to go to any ground and play any game and win it, and like I said, second half we just weren't good enough.
Cheers, Stephen.
Thank you.
This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and I'm standing on the side of the pitch at Richmond Park with Ruadhri Keating, who scored the equaliser for St. Pat's in a 2-1 victory against Shamrock Rovers. Ruadhri, first of all, how did it feel when that goal went in?
It was unbelievable. Probably one of the best feelings there is. When you're asked to come on and you're 1-0 down at home to 4 in a row champions, it's there for the taking, and all I wanted was a chance. Hoped I'd get one as soon as it fell to me. It just got my head down and buried it. And it's one of them, you catch it nice and you just know as soon as it leaves your foot. So to see it go in, I'm absolutely delighted.
Was it even sweeter because you had been denied by the offside flag a couple of minutes before, and I have to say on commentary we didn't think it was offside. It was certainly 50-50.
No, Jesus, I'm 99.9% sure I wasn't, because I was watching the line the whole way across. I could see it, but yeah, again, I was just dying for that chance, and unfortunately it went against me. At least I got it on my feet and put it in the net. That was maybe a sign for them. And then when I got the second one and it went in, I was just absolutely delighted. It was brilliant. Now hopefully that kicks us on now.
What goes through your mind when you have a chance like that and you had maybe a second or two to think, which sometimes for a footballer is not a good thing, and you're facing the Shamrock Rovers fans at the Shed End?
it's a nervy moment, and it's easy for me to say, yeah, he should be sticking that, but it's another thing to actually do it.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think, when you're looking at it, it's easy enough to say, score. But, when you're on the pitches, it's like time stand still. But that's my game. I mean, the more time I have to think about it, the harder it is, in my opinion. I've been taught all my life, all my career, touch out of your feet in and around the box and shoot. Don't think about it. You know where the goal is. So if you get half a yard, hit the net. So that's what I do.
That's 4 goals for you, which isn't bad considering the injury interruption that you've had to your season.
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, if I'm being honest, I've come here really wanting to do well and, challenge and, not everything has gone right. There's some things off the pitch that, are still kind of in the background, and I'm trying really hard to focus on my football and do the best I can for me and my family. And then obviously with the injuries and the concussion, I've barely been injured in my life. So it's been really difficult to trying to, settle and, show everyone what I can do. And, it's been really tough, but it's nights like this, you just, it's all worth it. And you just got to keep going and keep working hard.
I know it's been tough for you, and we don't have to dive into it because obviously it's a very personal thing, but you've got an awful lot of support from this crowd. Now, they support all the players, but I think they're especially behind you. Does that mean something to you?
Absolutely. I had it last year as well at Cork. It's a wonderful football club down there, and the people behind the scenes and the fans, and what they've done for me and still do to me this day. And even now, coming here, the staff, the volunteers, the people behind the scenes, everyone's just been unbelievable with me. Obviously, it's a very strange situation, and it's not one that you hear of often. But everybody kind of just does their bit and helps as best as I can, and that's only that's only going to fire me on and help me to keep my head down and focus on my football. Which, please God, now that kickstart us on.
What's it been like working with Stephen Kenny?
It's been brilliant. I'm in awe of his his football brain, his view on the game, the way he sees things. It's absolutely brilliant. You can see why he's been at the highest level, and just to learn from him and listen to him, and him putting his trust in me to play in his team and scoring goals and things like that. It's just brilliant. So hopefully just I can listen and learn and just keep improving.
How did it feel to win with a dramatic late goal tonight in a big game, having lost a few games or been denied results after some late goals?
Yeah, it's one of them in football, last minute winners. I just don't think you can beat it. It's not often it happens, especially against a team like Rovers. So it's just an unbelievable feeling. I think I think we done that to them the start of the year as well. So I think you just need to enjoy it. When moments like that happen, you just need to enjoy it and make the most of it, because they're unbelievable feelings.
Axel, his full name is Karl Axel Soberg, but Axel as he's called, and Tom started for the first time in a long while tonight. For Axel it was 3 months, for Tom it was over a year, and they really added to the team, didn't they?
Just shows the character, so I know we haven't been doing well this year, but the characters in that dressing room, and the two boys are that's what it's all about, to come, especially Tom, to come back from a year out, and he's played 45 last week, and he came on in Daily Mount, and to put in a performance like that tonight, it's just it's a credit to him, and it tells you everything you need to know about him as a person and a player. And the same with Axel, they're just unbelievable mentality to just keep driving it on.
And finally, how important is it that this is a starting point, because it's a big result, but you throw in the fact that you've got bodies coming back, and you still have a whole half a season and an FAI Cup to defend, and Europe coming up. There's an awful lot to get excited about.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. We can go away now full of confidence after that win, and that's what we wanted. We'll come back in and we'll work hard. We've got Europe to look forward to. We've got a cup run to go on. There's still plenty of games left in the league. You know what it's like in this league. You go on a run, anything can happen. So we're just fully focused on us and just making sure the performances are there and getting results.
Ruadhri Keating, thanks for talking to the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast.
Appreciate it.
It was really good to speak to Ruadhri Keating, a man who is staying strong despite going through a really, really tough time. And it's great for him to have those moments of joy. That's his 4th goal of the season. He's had an injury-interrupted season, but for all the obvious reasons, you wouldn't deny him a moment of distraction, a moment of joy. And boy, did he create one against Shamrock Rovers last night. A really well taken goal. He was very unlucky, by the way, because as we discussed, the goal that was chalked off, I don't think it should have been chalked off. I don't think he was offside. Anyway, it didn't matter in the end. Let's go to the RSC, where Waterford took on Shelbourne. Shell's getting a 1-0 victory here. Extratime.com's Patrick O'Connor was there and afterwards sent us this voice note.
First half was very, very pedestrian. No great intensity from either side, which was kind of surprising. A couple of half chances from both sides, but nothing clear cut. and as a result of the fare on the pitch, the crowd was very, very subdued. Jarvis was dangerous for Shelbourne on the left wing, and Patterson looked dangerous for Waterford on the right wing. But overall, neither side really tested the opposition goalkeeper, and it was no surprise when it was 0-0 at the break. Slight improvement in the second half, although there was still sort of a very flat feel to the game overall. It did spark to life on the 55th minute though, when the only goal of the game arrived. Grant Hornton, the Waterford centre-back, miscontrolled the ball. Jarvis took advantage of it. He was straight through one-on-one with Sargent. He doesn't miss those kind of chances, and he slotted it home quite comfortably to make it 1-0 to Shelbourne. You expected a major Waterford reaction. It didn't really come. I thought they were lacking in intensity. They did have the ball in the net maybe 20 minutes or so after that goal, but it was ruled offside, as indeed was an offside goal that Matty Smith had also scored for Shelbourne about 10 minutes prior to that. So 2 offsides. Once Shelbourne had that goal, they went pretty defensively for the last 20-25 minutes. They're expert at defending 1-0 leads. Waterford seemed to lack creativity in terms of trying to create an equaliser, and they resorted to kind of lumping long balls into the box. That's not the kind of service that Padraig Amond likes. He likes to feet. He didn't get the ball to feet that much. So try as they might, they couldn't force an equaliser, and Shells, to be honest, were quite comfortable at the end, and they held on for, as I say, that 1-0 lead. 2,750 people at the RSC tonight. Lovely night for a match, pitch and gun condition, but the game overall never really rose above the mediocre. That won't worry Damien Duff. They have their 3 points heading into the mid-term break, and they're still top of the table.
A big thank you to Patrick O'Connor, who watched Waterford lose 1-0 to Shelbourne at the RSC. Interesting to hear Damien Duff talk about Padraig Amond after the game and saying that he's incredible at what he does, especially at his age. And I have to say, I would agree with those comments. And we had Padraig on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He's just a really great fella from a really great family. Shell's top of the league. We'll talk more about the table in a second. Galway United overcoming Drogheda United by 3-0 at Eamon DC Park. Extratime.com's Paul Corcoran was at the game, and afterwards he sent us this voice note.
Hi Oisin, it's just gone full time here in Eamon DC Park, where Galway United have ran out 3-0 winners over Drogheda United. Galway United are back to winning ways, so John Caulfield's men will be very, very happy after tonight's performance. It'll be a bit of a dampener for Kevin Doherty's side as they enter the mid-season break, as they now drop to the bottom of the Premier Division table with Dundalk's win over Sligo Rovers tonight. Fairly standard fare for Galway United, and both sides really, neither side massively impressed tonight, although Galway United had a very professional performance, obviously with their 3 goals. Stephen Walsh, the absolute main man for Galway United. Mr. Galway United has been referred to by his manager John Caulfield at times with the last few years, but a brace of goals for the striker. 5 goals so far this season, and just he was everywhere all night long while he's on the pitch. He was absolutely everywhere. So really, really great performance from the Galway man all night. I suppose other good performances. Yano Isua had some great interceptions for Galway United at the back. Drogheda did threaten at times. Evan Weird a couple of decent free kicks, and we do know that Evan Weird is a wand of a left foot, and he has scored against Galway United this season already. But Yano Isua definitely the main performer at the back for Galway United tonight. In midfield, Gary Buckley got the nod and started in the centre midfield. He's still kind of on the way back from injury, and I thought he performed really, really well tonight. I suppose a couple other small points to raise. Kyle Fitzgerald came off the bench for his debut for Galway United. He's a much touted prospect for John Caulfield's side. He even got a shot off on target very late in the game, and that final goal then came when Drogheda United coughed up possession very late on, when Conor O'Keefe, who had come off the bench himself, ran on, took the ball right into the box, fancied his chances and slotted the ball into the bottom corner to give Galway United a 3-0 win as they head into the mid-season break. Final result again here in Galway: Galway United 3, Drogheda United 0.
Well, that's almost it for the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. Derry City left it late but got the victory against Bohemians at Dalymount Park. Grant put Bows 1-0 up after 15 minutes. Diallo equalised after 17 minutes, and Danny Mullen scored the winner in the 95th minute, I think it was. Daryl Horgan with a goal for Dundalk. They had a 1-0 victory against Sligo Rovers, so it's looking a lot better for Dundalk, and all credit to John Daly, who has done a magnificent job in the short time that he has been there. Now, Liam Burns is still part of the coaching staff, I think, and he has to take an awful lot of credit as well, because he would have done good work before John got there. Let's take a look at the table. Shelbourne on top. After 22 games, they've got 43 points. Derry City second. They've played a game more than Shells. They're on 41 points. Shamrock Rovers third on 31 points. They've played 21 games. Waterford fourth on 31 points. They've also played 21 games. Galway United fifth, but they've only played 20 games. They're on 30 points. St. Pat's now in sixth position on 27 points, but they have played 3 more games than Galway, 2 more than Waterford, 2 more than Shamrock Rovers, and 1 more than Shelbourne. They've played the same amount of games as Derry City. I'm not sure why I'm putting them in that top 2/3 bracket. They're still well off that. It was a big win at Richmond Park, but and I'm not a St. Pat's fan, as you're aware. I do the commentary for LOI TV, but from the St. Pat's point of view, calm. Don't get too excited yet. Sligo Rovers 7th on 25 points. They've played 21 games. Bohemians 8th on 24 points. They've played 19 matches. Dundalk 2nd from bottom on 19 points. They've played 21 matches. Drogheda have also played 21 matches. They're on 16 points. In the first division, Bray Wanderers 1, Athlone Town 0. Cork City 4, Cove Ramblers 1. Finn Harps 1, UCD 1. Kerry 2, Longford 1. And Treaty United 1-0 winners away to Wexford. So that's a big win for Treaty United, but they're still in 8th position. Let's go through the entire table. Cork City on top on 46 points. They've played the same amount of games as UCD. That's 21. UCD 11 points behind. Bray 3rd on 31 points. Athlone 4th on 31. Finn Harps 5th on 30. Wexford 6th on 26. Cove Ramblers 7th on 25. Treaty 8th on 24. Kerry 2nd from bottom on 18. Longford bottom on 13. There are fixtures in the SSE or Treacy Women's Premier Division on Saturday, and they are Shelbourne against Galway United at 2 o'clock, Bowes taking on Peamount at 3, Wexford meeting DLR Waves at 6, Sligo Rovers taking on Shamrock Rovers at 7, and at 7:30 at Lone Town taking on Treaty United. Now, they're so far away. Is there any real point in going through the next set of fixtures in the Premier Division? Let's do it anyway. On Friday, the 28th of June, St. Pat's take on Bowes, Derry City are up against Drogheda, Shelbourne meet Galway, Dundalk play Waterford, and Sligo Rovers take on Shamrock Rovers. There will be no Voice Notes podcast over the next couple of weeks. We won't be back until the 28th. But Luke, I'm sure, will be here with the Extratime.com League of Ireland podcast, and he'll take a deep dive into everything that's going on in the league. That'll be out maybe early in the week. You can follow the Euros through Extratime.com. We'll have articles and updates on the tournament as it progresses. And of course, you can follow me on @Oisin Langan. I'm going to ask what I always ask. If you could like, rate, subscribe, review, that would really help us out. And you can do that on whatever platform you catch this podcast on. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to the Euros. There's nothing better than international tournament football. And I had Ken Early from the Second Captains on KCLR, scoreline on KCLR last week. And he made the point that it's not the best football, but it's his favourite, and I completely understand. So enjoy the next couple of weeks. And there's nothing better than the start of an international tournament when it's 3 games a day and you nearly can't keep up with the amount of games. It's just fantastic. It would be nicer if Ireland were there, but hopefully we'll be back there in the future. That's it from me. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the break from the League of Ireland, and I will talk to you when it's all back. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.